Welcome to Tuesday's lesson. I'm Mr. Trotta. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about an easy way to cheat in this class. Many of you don't know, but
We interrupt this lesson for today's important lesson objective. We interrupt this lesson for today's important lesson objective.
so I thank you for not cheating that way because that's not fair. None of you have been doing that, so thank you. So let's get on with today's lesson. First thing we're going to talk about are inequalities. Inequalities are when we talk about two numbers and we compare them to say they are, one is less than the other, or the other one is greater than the other, or sometimes they're the same, they're equal to each other. So I'm going to take a look at these numbers here. I have these symbols. This first one here is my less than symbol. This one is my greater than symbol. It's easy to get them confused because they look kind of the same, they're facing different ways, that's about it. But if you were to write the letter L as a capital letter L, that's the way you're going to write it. And if I tilt this just slightly, I actually might even be able to tilt that slightly. Rotate this. Oh, there we go. Right, if I take this L and I rotate it just slightly, now I have a symbol that looks just like my less than symbol. So this makes an L, it's less than. If it's the other way, it's greater than. And another way that's often described, usually back in elementary school, is that if you have some fish, I learned it with fish, but if you have like money, and if I'm comparing two numbers like $3 and $65, you always want to go towards the other one. So they always say like the fish's mouth is hungry, it's going to go towards the food, and it's going to go this way, and it's going to gobble it all up. It's a really bad greater than symbol. So if you need to think of it that way, you can think of it that way, but you don't really necessarily have to. So if I have 3 is going to be less than 65 is the way we write that out. You could say 3 is less than 65, but it's so much easier when you just have to say 3 less than 65. So when you're putting your answers for these into Schoology, if you look on your keyboard, right above the comma and the period, those are the numbers, those are the symbols that you're going to be using. So shift comma is going to give you the less than, and shift period is going to give you the greater than symbol. So if I'm comparing 59 and 50, 59 is bigger than 50, so I want to use the greater than symbol here to say that 59 is greater than 50. And if I have 94 and 852, this one's pretty easy because if we look at this, I have 2 digits here, and here I have 3 digits. So this number is going to definitely be bigger. $852 is definitely bigger than 94, but since the 94 is first, we have to write this as 94 is less than 852. The last example I have here is 529 and 775. They're both 3-digit numbers, so I want to compare the very first number in there, the 5 and the 7. Which is bigger? 7 is bigger, or we say 5 is smaller than the 7 since it comes first. So this is going to be, again, 529 is going to be less than the 775. So I've covered 4 different examples there, so I'm not going to go through this a second time. Instead, I'm going to have you try some on your own. So why don't you try that now? All right, and let's go over these. For 51 and 6, you should have said that 51 is greater than 6. For 53 and 59, 53 is smaller than 59, so we want to say 53 is less than 59. If I have 842 and 94, 842 is way bigger than 94, so I'm going to say 842 is greater than the 94. And if I'm comparing 680 and 254, 6 and 2, 680 is going to be bigger, so I'm going to say 680 is greater than 254. Now, I didn't cover an example there, but if I had a number like 321 and 321, those two are exactly the same numbers, so you would be writing down an equal symbol in between those two. And that equal symbol is going to be right next to the delete key or backspace key up in the upper right-hand corner. All right, moving along. The next type of problem that you're going to see today are ordering these numbers from least to greatest. So I have 4 very large numbers, and I need to put them in the order from the least to greatest. So when you're doing this on the Schoology, I'm actually going to let you just drag and drop those numbers in from least to greatest. Let's start by taking a look at each of these numbers here. I have 4,749, and I'm going to put a 4 right above that. The reason I'm putting a 4 there is because there are 4 digits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make that 4 look a little nicer. Start again. There we go. If I look at 58,329, that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits. So I'm going to put a 5 above that one. Now the last two, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 digits. So right off the number I'm given that has the fewest digits, which is the 4,749, is going to come first, because that is the least. It is the smallest of all of them. And again, you would write these without the commas if I was asking you to submit the answer, but I'm just going to do a drag and drop to make it easier for you. Then 5 is the next smallest number after 4, so that number is going to come next, my 58,329. And now it's between my two numbers that have 6 digits. So the first thing I'm going to look at is the very first number of those digits. I have an 8 and I have a 6. Which of those two is smaller? Well, the 6 is smaller. So that means that this number here is going to go in this spot. I would drag that over into this spot. And my 873,284, that number here is going to be dragged down to this spot over here. They are now in order from least to greatest. Let's go over another example before you try one on your own. But first, time for bad joke of the day. What do you call a fish with no eye? Because there's no letter I in fish. Like I said, they're bad jokes. All right, we're going to order these numbers from least to greatest. So I'm going to start by doing the same thing I did last time. I want to count the number of digits that there are here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 digits on this one. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits. So right off the bat, I know that 4 is my smallest. So the 4,176 is going to come first. I'll just write that without the comma this time. My next smallest number has 5 digits in it, which is going to be 25,000. 25,793. Put the comma there. And now I'm working with these two numbers, 831,801 and 734,072. Now when I look at these numbers, the very first digit is an 8 and a 7, which means that this number is smaller, so I can move that one right down into third place. And my last number over here is going to come all the way over on the end into fourth place. So the last one I want you to try is the one on your own, and this one you're just going to have to pick a multiple choice. I'll put them in some random order for you. Why don't you try that now? All right, now that you tried it, I'll go over that pretty quickly here. I have a 6-digit number, I have a 4-digit number, I have a 5-digit number, and I have a 6-digit number. So I'm going to put my 4-digit number first. That was the 6,122. The 5-digit number comes in second place. So now it's between the two 6-digit numbers. And if I look at the first digit, 1 and 9. 1 is much smaller, so this number is going to come over into our third place. And our largest number is going to be the one on the end right here. And there's your answer. Okay, one more type of problem we can work on today. This one is not too bad at all. We're just going to work with some rounding here. And we're rounding to the tens or hundreds place. So I'm going to start with this number here, 124, and we want to round this number to the nearest 10 place. So just as a review here, we want to figure out which number is in the tens place. So do we think the 1 is in the tens place, the 2 is in the tens place, or the 4 is in the tens place? Why don't you submit your answer? Hopefully you pick that the 2 is in the tens place, because when we have numbers like this, the very first digit, let's see, I'll give you an example here of, say, well, I will use 124. When I have 124, the very first number all the way on the right, that is going to be our ones place. The digit that is over to the left is going to be our tens place. And the number that's over here is going to be in our hundreds place. Because when I say this number, I'm saying 120, which is a number that's multiples of 10, 4, which is 4 ones. So when I say I want to round 124 to the nearest 10, the first thing I need to do is look at the tens place. So I'm going to take that tens place and I'm going to underline that number. That number is the number that has the potential to change. It might not change. It could. It has the potential. The number that picks whether or not the 2 is going to change is going to be the number to the right of it. So I have to take a look at this 4, and the 4 determines if the 2 is going to stay the same or if it's going to go up. Now, if the number ends, this one that makes the decision, if it ends in a 0 through 4, then that number is going to stay the same. If it ends between a 5 and a 9, that means we're going to round up, and that number is going to go up. So if I look at this 4 over here, this 4 is between 0 and 4, so that means this 2 is going to stay the same. So the 2, I'm going to write that down right down here below. I'm going to take a look at all the numbers. Let's see. Then all the numbers to the right are going to become zeros. So there's only one number. And the numbers to the left stay exactly the same. So 120 is 124 to the nearest tens place. Let's go over one more example. Before we do that, time for another bad joke. Why would you smear peanut butter on the road? Because it goes with the traffic jam. Bad jokes. Now I have 374 to the nearest tens place. So I'm going to go write down 374. I want to find the number that is the digit that is in the tens place, and that is my 7. So a 7, I have to look at that number and say the digit to the right of it is going to be the deciding factor on whether the 7 changes or stays the same. Now we're working with the same number we had before, the 4, so that is between my 0 and 4, which means the 7 is going to stay exactly the same. So I'll write that number 7 over here. The numbers to the right are going to be now 0, so there's only one of those, and the numbers to the left stay exactly the same. So I have 370. So let's give you one more example here. You're going to try this one on your own now. So I have 358 to the nearest tens. When I have 358, I'm looking at the nearest tens place. The 5 is in my tens place, which means I need to look at the number to the right. That digit is the one that determines if the 5 is going to stay the same or if it's going to go up. 8 is on the higher end. It's between 5 and 9, which means that it's going to say this 5 is going to change. It is going to become a 6. So all the digits to the right become a 0. The digits to the left stay exactly the same. So I have 360. Not too bad. That's all the problems you're going to have for today. There's going to be a couple examples just like this. You guys know the drill by now. If you have questions, send me a message on Schoology or stop by one of my Zoom office hours. And make sure you're getting all those assignments in. Just another reminder that after 1 week, when the assignment is assigned, you're not allowed to do that assignment anymore. It's over. You have a 0. And I don't want to see you guys have zeros. It's very easy to get full credit for the assignments. Make sure you're getting them done. Secret word for today is going to be born. Just like it appears above, right there, and born. That's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow.